Welcome back, everybody, to Wanderings and Wool Gathering, episode 10 of our top 10 albums that influenced our musical taste. Hopefully, you've been around for this ride that has lasted 9 full days. And today, we are completing our albums with day number 10. And next week, we'll be back to our normal programming with albums, challenges, and the like. But we felt like this was important and something that was going to be fun for us to do. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. I picked up some new albums to check out. Joining me are the boys, Metalhead Mundy and T-Bags. Welcome.
We're here.
They are here. And I guess I'm just going to ask you before we get started, do we want to do our honorable mentions first, or do we want to knock out our 3 and then finish with the honorable mentions?
I say we finish. I say we finish first.
Okay. Yeah. That's what we will do. And we will start with Mr. Gruff but lovable Metalhead Mundy.
Reverend Horton Heat. Liquor in the front. So this album, I am a huge fan of rockabilly, psychobilly, all that stuff. Actually, when my hair is cut correctly and I can do it, my hairdo is pretty much inspired by the rockabilly look. It's a little high, a little pompadour looking, but I love the style and I love the music. And Reverend Horton Heat pretty much got me there. This album came out. I don't remember how I got to it, but I remember when I heard it, I saw that it was produced by Al Jorgensen. And I was like, what is Al Jorgensen? What? And I mean, this album is just incredible. It's, if you've not heard Reverend Horton Heat, you need to go listen to him. This, I think, was their 3rd album. So then, of course, I went back and got the first 2, and I've loved him but it's like usually a 3-piece band, but they're just incredible. I've seen them live so many times, and man, what a show. And this, when I was a kid, I remember loving the Stray Cats stuff when it was on the radio, but I was so young. And I didn't, and then like I started getting into oldies, and I didn't really make like kind of the rockabilly connection and all. I just like the songs, but man, when Reverend Horton Heat's Liquor in the Front, when I got into that, it was just, I mean, it was on. It was absolutely on, and that has led me to so many bands. Horror Pops is a great band, psychobilly band. And just so many. I could just go on and on about rockabilly and psychobilly and all that stuff.
Didn't you just see them in Brown County?
No. I saw Brian Setzer. We saw Brian.
Okay. Yeah, you brought up Stray Cats, so that's maybe what I thought.
Yeah.
Wasn't it fun back then when you found something like that was, kind of mind blowing to you, that we lived in the world where you bought the CD or you bought whatever it was on, and you lived with it for a while. You put it in your Walkman, you put it in your boombox, whatever the case was. But you were actually like sitting down with the music, and it wasn't it wasn't just every music available to you at your fingertips. So that was it.
That was also this was also a time I mentioned that this album is produced by Al Jorgensen, of course, from Ministry, if you don't know, but that this is also a time when that was something that I definitely was paying attention to, was looking to see who was producing what, and I got to know producers' names and connected them from this artist to this artist and all that stuff. That is a huge deal for me at this time. Yeah,
definitely makes a difference.
Very cool. You're right, Tony. You sat with music a lot longer back in the day.
Yes.
Or you just listen to the radio if you didn't have it. It's like a double-edged sword, because it's cool that you got to buy this, physical music and sit and enjoy and really take it all in. But having it at your fingertips is nice too, especially when you do a show and you review music. So it's kind of like,
right.
I think we have the best of both worlds, because we grew up with that and now we have this. So
yeah.
Now we have access to both.
Yeah, and like you can only buy one CD for the price of a streaming subscription now.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Right.
15 songs or 15 million,
Yeah, and vinyls back then, I've got some up here that are older that were purchased back when I was a kid, and they were $7.99. Now they're 30, 40, depends if they're doubles or whatever. So yeah, it's costly if you were to buy all of your music new today.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, all right, great choice, Mr. Money.
Thank you.
All right, my 10th will come as no surprise, and it was Slipknot, 2001, Iowa. Not their first record. That was 1999. And I really wasn't on my radar. 1999, an 8th grade student told me about them in 2001, made me a CD, which is the coolest thing ever when you have an 8th grade student make you a CD.
That's a good one, though. And I haven't heard that in a while, so I'll have to go.
Yeah. So I just fell in love with it, especially the drums are absolutely killer. I've got my shirt on with the Joey #1 tribute. I love him as a drummer. He was just an animal, so aggressive, and hadn't heard anything like that. I fell in love with him, and I've seen him a bunch of times. Going to see him again in a couple weeks. And I say influential to me because I don't know that I would today like bands like Lamb of God. I don't know if I would have progressed along those lines. Of course, I liked heavy stuff back in the day, like Metallica and Pantera and things like that, but I didn't go as far as I go now, and I don't know that I would have had I not had Iowa in 2001.
Right.
So,
yeah,
definitely influential.
So two things. First, I was not an early adopter with Slipknot. I did not love what I was hearing when they first came out. It took me a while to get around to them, and yeah, they're super exciting. Amazing live. There's sometimes something will happen in a song. I'm like, is that really necessary? I'm not sure, but man, the live shows are incredible, and they're an exciting band. And my second thing, you mentioned Lamb of God, and we saw them live last year, and that was, you said you had never seen them. I had seen them several times, and you were, I think you were more impressed with them than you were with the headliner. So
I was blown away. Absolutely. Yeah. And Art Cruz was freaking incredible.
Oh my God, he's a beast. I love him.
Yeah, that was, it really took me by surprise. I will definitely see them. I'll get tickets immediately to get nice seats again.
Yeah.
See them.
Yeah.
All right, T-Bags. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I saw them with you. That was the first time I had seen them live, and they were amazing in concert.
Yes, I love that. Up close.
Yes.
Under the awning because we're old and I don't want to get wet.
That's the way to do it. You can still crouch down and jump when you're told, but you can...
We did.
Yeah,
because you gotta.
That's right.
Keeps yelling at you until you sit down. So
you got to be careful on the landing at our age, though.
Exactly. That's true. Yep.
Oh man, I might wear some braces. We'll see. All right, T-Bags, you're #10. Ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
9 Inch Nails makes my list again.
Nice.
The Downward Spiral, and I think if you were to just look at this from a broad perspective, you would think, well, of course, 9 Inch Nails is going to lead you into 9 Inch Nails. So why would you pick it twice? But Jeremy, when we were talking about the difference between Pre-Hate Machine and Broken,
oh yeah,
there's a difference between Broken and Downward Spiral, and I think that
huge
was the
evolution in sound. Yeah,
that was the key to me. I think that was really what solidified Trent for me. Was he? And you would read articles, and a lot of people say this, they just don't necessarily do it, but he would say, I did what I needed to do on the last one. I'm not going to try to do that again, no matter the success rate. And so it was kind of cool to not know what kind of music you were going to get on the next album. But the Downward Spiral being thematic and being at the real rise of 9 Inch Nails. And I saw them 3 times on tour when they were touring the Downward Spiral. And, but it's also came at a time when I was doing a lot of art. So that was in my headphones a lot. And there was just so much to listen to in there. And there still is in the mix. And the fact that they were pulling it off with samplers that could only handle like 10 seconds of samples, and all of the stuff back then was cool. And then you had all the side things that made it cool to you if you were, back in the day. But like they recorded in the Manson house. He lived in there by himself, and so you had all that kind of stuff. But Downward Spiral to me, even though The Fragile ended up being my favorite Nine Inch Nails album, the Downward Spiral opened up a world of different things that I would listen to, just because I was paying attention to the mix, and I was, not needing to hear things tuned a certain way or resolved a certain way or written a certain way. So that was a huge influential album for me.
That's a good point. What you just said there is, The Fragile is your favorite, but this one led you somewhere. I think that's what this list has been all about. This is the first of its kind that got into our ears and led us to other places or things we've loved ever since, and expanded our horizons, changed what we were listening to. I think that's kind of what this list has been all about. Yeah,
it's been super fun, and it's fun to have that much time in between it now, back in 30 years ago, because we can tell how we evolved in our musical tastes. But yeah, this was a really fun experiment.
Did you find that the things you were blown away with back then, you still listen to frequently today?
Yeah, actually, I feel like it's just the choices made, like on Mr. Self-Destruct, to go quiet for a while and hold out, noise for so long that the person's irritated. And, it's like, yeah, I feel like I've even learned new things that I've liked, but the same things that attracted me to it still do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think looking at our list, I think we all still dig that music today and still listen to it regularly. So yeah, that's cool. That's quite a list.
One last thing about the Downward Spiral. I saw them twice on that tour. I saw them in 94 and 95, and they were responsible in that time period, both times, of leading me to bands that I had never heard of. I mean, that first time Marilyn Manson was opening up for him, like, I have no idea who this is. We were at Karma buying the tickets for the show, and that's who the opener was. So while we were there, we got the album and listened to it immediately in the car, and we're like, oh, this is weird. This ought to be fun. And the show in 95, I believe it was Pop Will Eat Itself, was opening up for them. I had never heard of them. And at that time, they were actually on Trent's label Nothing.
Right.
And that album, this was 1995, and I still listen to that album all the time. It's so good.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right. Let's take some final notes. There we go. All right, so we did it. We got through 10, but we are now going to slide in just some extras, some honorable mentions that probably could have made our list, but maybe didn't. So, Mundy, you want to hit us with yours?
So, do we just want to rattle them off with no context or anything?
Yeah, I keep fairly limited anyway.
All right, so 5 honorable mentions in no particular order. The Eagles' greatest hits, 71 to 75. KMFDM, Angst. Stabbing Westward, Wither Blister, Burn and Peel. Dead Can Dance, Into the Labyrinth. And Jack the Radio, Creatures.
Oh, nice choice. Yeah.
Yes.
Jack the Radio. Gotta love him.
That's cool.
All right. My 5 honorable mentions are The Cult, Love. And there were a couple albums I could have picked from The Cult, I think. And Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Naveed from Our Lady Peace. And The Doors, The Soft Parade, which is their weird one, which really stuck with me. And then if we're going to do this in a few years, I suspect Sleep Token would be on that list.
Yeah.
Just throwing that in there.
Yeah. They might make mine too, to be honest with you. So And I wish I would have picked The Doors. That was a great one. My 5, in no particular order, like Mundy said. Me Against the World by Tupac.
Yeah.
End of Silence by Rollins Band.
Nice.
Jane's Addiction Live. Louder Than Love, Soundgarden. And Purple Rain by Prince.
All right.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Nice. Excellent. Well, that was a blast coming up with all that old music. On the day 10 one in the notes, I will put all of our honorable mentions. If you guys will send those to me. I did not write those down. I wasn't fast enough. So, but I'd like to share those with everybody who have followed along and checked us out. I want to make sure we are doing you all justice. And again, this can be seen on YouTube. You can still check it out on Facebook. And then the day after we record the shows, we put it up on Spotify, Apple Music. So if you like to listen to podcasts rather than video, you can do that as well. We would appreciate you guys subscribing, giving us a like, and giving us some comments. Anything else, gentlemen?
I'd say be on the lookout for, we've decided we're going to put a playlist together based off of all of these influential albums. So be on the lookout for that.
It's going to be quite a ride.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And just a heads up, if you missed it on Monday, we had a show with Michael Ciravolo from Beauty and Chaos. You should try to find that one. He's the president of Schecter Guitars, curator of Beauty and Chaos. Lots of great music. Awesome interview. Great dude. You should check that out. And we should be back next week with another album review and a challenge. And until then, we will see you on the podcast, the YouTubes, and the Facebooks. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. I'll see you around. Bye now.
See ya.